So let's get this thing going. I'd like to start off the night with doing a reading for the day, just kind of a in general reading for November 8th. And it is, you are determined, discreet, and conservative. Your tastes are frivolous. You like the comfort and ease of luxurious surroundings. You are an adorant lover, have musical ability, are shrewd and resourceful. A few people can get there better than you. That's just kind of to sum the evening up for what we're going to do. For everybody out there listening, if you're interested in the free readings, all you got to do is get on the website and use the instant messenger to the right of the page and just send me a message and we can start right then and there. So if you're out there listening, please log on and tell me what's on your mind. I think the whole evening's going to go that way tonight. But before we get there, I would like to say thanks to everybody that was out there last night and who's been out there all day today. We had a few minor tech problems last night. First broadcasting of RadioVisions was off to a start, but I'm working on taking care of those problems, and hopefully things will run smooth really soon. So bear with me during this time of learning, because yes, trust me, it's a time of learning for me too. This tech stuff is different. But for those of you who don't know who I am Darrah. I started RadioVisions in the last 6 months. Actually, the idea came to me a year ago when I was on a radio station called 104.5 The Fox, on a show called The Jan and Phil Show. They do a morning show here locally. They invited me on one Halloween morning to do readings over the air. Since that first taste into what radio was back then, I wanted to pursue it a little more. Didn't quite know how to do that. So I decided to formulate a plan, put it together, and come up with my own radio broadcasting system. I know that sounds bad, if you will, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to reach more people than I just could locally. So, here we are a year later, and my second appearance on the Phil and Jan show was October 31st, 2008. They invited me back, so I went and did the show, and it still confirmed that I still wanted to do this. So I went ahead and dug a little deeper, pulled out some resources, and a week after that show, here I am. So now we're going to take off and do what we can. Like I said, I do offer free readings to anybody that IMs me. So please do what you can when you can, and we'll be happy to take care of all that. So just keep in mind that everything is fun, on the up and up, and things can't get any better. So I would like to start with a few things here, and those few things are what's going on today in the world is just kind of strange, kind of sad. This is where we're at, okay? So we're going to do things one step at a time. Like, if you haven't been to the website, or at least all of the website, I really encourage you to do so, to go through as much of it as possible. It would really be beneficial. I do host other things than doing personal and private readings. I actually have shows that you can hire out to parties and so on and so forth. The psychic party is the best selling party I do. Many people are finding this a unique and exciting way of hosting a house party. This house party is really cool. So keep that in mind, and things will be running really smooth for everybody in the future. So like I say, if you haven't been over the website, please do so. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there on it. You'll understand how things work, how things don't work, so on and so forth. I also would like to let everybody know that we are we I am eventually going to start putting music on this site. If you are a musical artist, musician in a band, or one of the above, please feel free to go to the website on the Radio Visions page and download the broadcast release form. Fill it out and send me a copy of your CD. Must be your own original music though. And as soon as you do that, and as soon as we get it, we can start actually adding music to the site during the day, and that will make things a little more interesting for people that tune in not during the Fridays and Saturdays that we're on live. So if there's anybody out there listening, just don't forget to log on, send me an IM, let me know what you think. Or if you have time, sit down and make out a full email. Email me. Let me know if it was good, bad, or indifferent. I'm here to do all of that. I'd also like to let everybody know we do have a monthly newsletter. And in this newsletter, you'll find out things way before they're actually posted online, which is always good. So keep that in mind as well, okay? So some of the stuff that we're going to go over tonight is very, very basic, very interesting. I think so anyway. So we're going to go over a few scenarios. A lot of people want to know how I do readings. A lot of the readings I do, based on different aspects. There is, of course, the live reading where I'm sitting one-on-one with you and I just read your aura and whatever else is there to read, the beings with you, the spirits. I also do card readings, and when I do card readings, I actually don't use a tarot deck. I actually use a standard household deck of playing cards, which is really kind of unique and different, and I will actually be kind of going over the playing card scenario tonight just to get people out there a taste of what playing cards are and what they aren't, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of what the topic of today is reading playing cards. And like I said, at any time, if anybody logs on and sends me an instant message, we can stop and do a live reading right here on the air. So keep that in mind. So tonight I'm going to pull out a deck of cards, flip over a card, and I'll explain how the routine works. So I've flipped over a card. It's a Seven of Spades. Seven of Spades is a dark card, which is okay. Seven of Spades also represents things like delays, loss, setbacks, which is kind of interesting because when you connect them with other cards, it can foresee the delay of walking through life itself at times. So like I said, I just wanted to give people an understanding of what different cards mean. I'll just read them off here, and like I said, if you want to do a live reading at any time, please feel free to just send me a IM and let me know what's going on, okay? So our next card is a Nine of Spades, which is really cool. Actually, the Nine of Spades is another dark card, and also it represents resentment, disappointment, can even represent sickness. So, and if we take this Nine of Spades and put it with the Seven of Spades that I read first, it actually changes what the cards would be, and then the two cards together could represent jealousy, which for a lot of people that is a big issue, and I understand that. But things aren't always bad and all that stuff. Turn over another card and explain what it is. This one's a Eight of Hearts, which is a really nice card. It brings stability, love, compassion, and everybody's always looking for that, regardless where you are at in life. So keep that in mind. Now, like I said, in the future weeks coming, we're going to try to add live music. Well, not live music, but music to the website here, and in order to do that, I need people to download a broadcasting release and send it to me. and fill out all the information on it, of course, and send me a CD with it. But keep in mind, if you have multiple recordings you've done, I can only use one CD and one broadcast release. So if you have more, you have to fill out more releases. So keep that in mind, okay? I don't care if you have one or if you have 100. I'll need 100 broadcast release forms. That's what it comes down to try to keep everybody safe and on the up and up. So here we are. We're going to flip over another card. This one's a 9 of diamonds. 9 of diamonds is really nice. It gives you the feeling of inspiration or surprise. And if it's played with any other cards that pop up, let's say a 5 of hearts, it would also mean a chance meeting, or which relates back to that surprise, I guess, you know. And everybody always likes surprises, I always find out. And as time goes on this evening, like I said, we are here live tonight, so if you want to IM me, just jump on there and send me out that signal, and we'll do a reading for you. And like to hear from anybody and everybody I can. I know this has only been the second evening we've been doing this, so bear with me and I'll bear with everybody else out there. But I would like to know you're out there listening. Even if you are just listening and that's all you're going to do, that's fine and wonderful. Why don't you send me an IM? Why don't you sign it? Why don't you send me an email? Just say, hey, caught the show, it was great. Or hey, caught the show, you need to make some changes. That's okay. Like I said, I'm new to this, so it's going to change and morph over a period of time as we get things rolling and moving. And I guess the biggest thing I'd like to leave everybody with is that as the course of this radio program, hopefully it gets bigger and better. And that's what everybody hopes from anything they try to do, is make it better than what they started with. I would just like to just keep your perspective on life, I guess, is what I'm saying. I know I'm rambling right now, but that's kind of what I do best, I guess. So let's take another look at a card right here. This one is a Jack of Hearts, which is actually interesting because the court cards, like the King, the Queen, the Jack, are actually broke down into some months. The Jack of Hearts is actually represents February 20th to March 20th, which is all you Pisces out there. Pisces are kind of laid back people for the most part, but this one would be more of a chance meeting, a place to go, if you pair it up with the 9 of diamonds that we just had. So all these cards, I'm just trying to let everybody know that readings can be done with them, and not just tarot cards or ruin cards or ruin stones or any of those other things. It's just something that everybody can do. This one is a 9 of spades. Oh, I take that back. It's a 9 of clubs. Should get my eyes checked. I get 9 of clubs is also another dark card, but this one is actually represents a good dark card, which is kind of interesting because some people have the notion that dark cards represent bad things. Not all of them do. This one actually represents a trip, a visit, a journey. Usually on the short side, not a long one. You know, maybe a weekend getaway or anything else that you would like to do. But keep in mind that not all dark cards are really dark cards. Some of them are really interesting and nice and pleasant. So if we looked at the next card in the deck, that would be an Ace of Diamonds, which is interesting because an Ace of Diamonds represents gifts, and not just money-wise, since it's a diamond. It represents newness, gifts. It can also represent special events like the gift is a ring, and so on. Like I said earlier, that if you haven't been over the website, please check out some of the other pages. There's quite a few of them there. There's things to read, things to do, a little background history on me, and you might find it interesting. You might find it just average. I don't know. But keep in mind that it's all real. It's who I am, what I am. And I do offer other shows and other events other than just doing private readings for people. Like I said, I do the personal readings by appointment only. If you're interested in those, just pick up the phone, give me a call, and make an appointment. Or you can even email me and we can make an appointment over the emails. That's no big deal either. To give you a little twist on the psychic party I had mentioned earlier, I also offer a party called wine readings. It is kind of similar to the psychic party. It's usually done as a house party, but I have done it for other occasions in restaurants and actually at hotels. So keep that in mind. You can use it anywhere. Any of these parties and events, you can take them anywhere and go anywhere. But the wine readings are really, really cool. It's, to explain it, it's like everybody has a glass of wine, being relaxed, having a nice evening. And they'll come sit down at my table and we'll do a reading. And the reading is based on taking a couple of droplets of wine and I put them in between two business cards. Then when you open them, there's a nice little design and picture there. And I give you your reading based on that. And a lot of people like that a lot better than just a plain reading from what I see around them or what the spirits tell me. So it's just kind of a nice little twist and it's just fun to do. So keep that in mind that the holidays are coming up, and if you need to still plan your parties, I have a few spaces left, so call early because they are filling up quick. Or if you don't want to call, we can still do it by email. Email's fine too. I just prefer the calls, but it just happens a little quicker, you know. But keep in mind, I don't mind using emails. So email me all you want. And if you want to know about upcoming events before most of anybody else would, go to the website, go on the contact us /newsletter page and sign up for the monthly newsletters. That way you'll know what's coming up before it's actually posted on the website. And then by doing that, you'll know, like I said earlier, I want to add music to the site, so eventually when that happens, you'll know about it beforehand, before it actually happens. So that's always a good thing to do. And I'd also like to reiterate that we do need the musicians out there to send us their original pieces of work with a release form so we can actually play them over the air. It does two things for people. It helps us and gives you something interesting to listen to during the day and other hours that we're not on live. And it gives the artist the opportunity to get their music heard, just not on a local level, but on actually a worldwide level. And all artists who submit stuff will be credited for their work. There is no way around that. They will be credited, good or bad. They get the credit. So keep that in mind too if you submit stuff. I just always like people to know what they're getting themselves into, so don't worry about that. Let's take a look at another card here. See what we got. This one's a 7 of diamonds. This is also a money card, if you will. The 7 of diamonds represents a gift, and usually a gift of money, not just everyday material things. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, it's a gift, I'm going to get a new car, a new home, a new boat, a new toy. Not necessarily, you know. You may get that unexpected gift of $20 or $200. You just don't know, but it is a gift that's coming, and it makes things interesting. Like I said, when you lay the cards out with each other and stuff, that changes the meanings and moves them a little bit. That's where some people get confused on reading cards, even if it's the tarot cards, and you know what all the meanings mean of the tarot cards. You still get different meanings when they're placed together with each other. Like this Seven of Diamonds here, if you took it and it was placed with a Ten of Spades, then it changes the meaning to something a little different. Then that gift of money all of a sudden turns into more of a dispute of who owes who what. So keep that in mind. It's just things change, things come in, things go out. But it's always all fun, all games. Um, well, I really shouldn't say it's all fun and games because life is never that way. I mean, you may have a really good run and a great time for 6 months, but things always change. So keep that in mind when the good times quit coming, the bad times are there to teach you something. So learn from them so you don't keep repeating them. That's what we're all trying to do the most of is learn what we can, when we can, and how we can with as little downtime as possible. Okay, our next card here is actually a Two of Hearts. Two of Hearts is also a time card. Unlike the travel card we had earlier, this is actually time phrase wise, and since it's a two, it usually runs in twos, like 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. But time cards will fill in gaps for people. You know, when one card tells them that a vacation is coming and they want to know, a time card might come up next to it and say, oh, it's going to happen in 2 weeks. Or because it might be laying next to a separate card that they've played later, it will actually mean 2 months instead of 2 weeks. But the time cards are really kind of unique as well, because if it's laid with like a Queen of Spades, all of a sudden it changes the meaning into something totally different. Time is taken out of the equation, and then you're set into a relationship scenario where it could bring up the idea of a secret lover or a admirer, if you will, that you weren't aware of that might come around in a certain time frame. I'd also like to keep letting people know I need ideas for each Friday and Saturday nights, because we are live Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. This whole idea was set up so I could do live readings for people if they so wish by using the instant messenger. So just keep in mind, I am me if you're out there listening, and we'll get this going for you. And one of the biggest and interesting things I find with this is that people tend to shy away from what I do, and I personally don't understand it, because what I'm doing is very natural, very easy, very human when it comes right down to it. So if you're just curious about what a reader can do for you, and you really don't want to take the time to trek out, find somebody, and do a reading, this is your opportunity to get one done at no cost. Just spend a little time home on a Friday or Saturday night between 10 p.m. and midnight. Use the technology that's there, and we can get you a reading going. And then you'll know if it's for you or not. But if nothing else, it's always fun. It's always interesting. Always find people, if they've never had a reading done before and they get one done, they tend to always go back to a reader. Now, it might not be the same reader all the time, but that would be nice as well. But they always tend to go back, and when I say that, I don't mean all the time. Maybe could be a year down the road, could be 2 years down the road, but they always seem to go back because it piques their curiosity. It could just be fun, you know, just something out of the ordinary for them. But keep in mind that it's all natural. Let's take a look at another card here. Okay, we've got an Ace of Spades now, and an Ace of Spades is really kind of a downer to me, but a lot of people gets the meaning changed when it's played with a different card. But an Ace of Spades usually represents events that are going to happen. You can't change them. They're coming no matter what you do. And a lot of times that has to do with legal situations. And legal situations is not a fun thing for anybody. Even if it brings you fortune or whatnot later on down the road, the legal situations are never good for anybody. At the time, I should say. So keep that in mind. I'd also like to let everybody know that's out there that we are here live tonight. So if you're listening to this, please IM me and we can get a personal reading for you here right now over the airwaves. Well, I guess it's really not the airwaves, but it's the internet waves. How's that? I kind of like the sound of that. The internet waves. It's kind of cool. But you are listening to Radio Visions by Darrah. So keep that in mind. Glad you found the website. Glad you like it. Hope I can teach you something, or you can teach me something. That's kind of what life is, I think, is learning something every day, then teaching somebody else something every day. So things can be fun and interesting. Like I said when I started out the broadcast tonight, last night was our first night. It was off to a rocky start because we had some technical difficulties, and I think I've got those worked out. But bear with me, I'm still learning. This is all brand new to me. So as soon as I learn what I need to be learning a little better, things will smooth out. So let's go ahead and take a look at another card here. Like I said, tonight we are going over reading playing cards. I'm just trying to make people aware of that you can actually read standard household playing cards versus tarot cards, so keep that in mind. And I actually prefer the house cards over the tarot cards because, for one, they're readily available. Two, I don't have to carry a deck of tarot cards everywhere I go then. And it's just kind of fun that you can pop into a party anywhere, because sooner or later someone will say, don't you do readings? I can say, yeah, you got a deck of cards and we can do readings. It's just really kind of fun. So right now I'm looking at an 8 of diamonds. 8 of diamonds is kind of a card that bears people down to certain things that it's really hard to explain. The 8 of diamonds is basically material obsession. People that are so concentrated and overwhelmed with owning stuff. They've got to buy, buy, buy. That's what the 8 of diamonds kind of represents. It's just one of those cards that if it pops up, it's because you're really focused in on buying something at the moment. It might be a brand new car. It might be the grocery bill at the end of the week. But it's usually based around material things. It's not always a bad card. Let me give you an instance on that. If it's dealt out with like a King of Hearts, then that means the 8 of diamonds and the King of Hearts together will actually switch into a different meaning of meeting a stranger. Could be a very lucky stranger. Could just be a stranger that you've really actually already know, but it's an old friend that you haven't seen in 10, 15 years that just pops back up. It's really kind of fun, interesting. Like I said, the meanings of playing cards are a lot different than tarot cards. You know, like in tarot cards, people freak out when they're dealt the death card, but in actuality, the death card actually means change. Something different's coming. Doesn't mean bad, doesn't necessarily mean good, but it just means a change is coming. So I like to use the cards people are more familiar with, like the ten of hearts right here. Now the 10 of hearts by itself is triumph over a situation. And if this card is set in your lineup of cards that we're reading, this is one of the best cards you can get because you're going to overcome any problems you're having. And that's really good. To give you a difference, if it was set up with the 9 of spades, the 9 of spades was, as we had earlier, was illness and so forth. But this card would represent that you're going to overcome that illness with no problems. with flying colors in actuality. I need to work on that word, don't I? I've just been having a good time. So remember, we are trying to add music to the site. So if you were out there and produced your own music, we would appreciate you going to the website, downloading the form, and mailing it in with your CD. We are actually looking for a certain type of music at the moment. We are actually looking for new age or smooth jazz, or some would call it cool jazz. Please get them coming, send them to us as soon as we can get some music and put it on there. You will get the credit for producing the music. We're just going to air it for you. And I know for some of you musicians out there, sometimes getting someone to air your music can be a real pain. But we're here to do that for you. So keep that in mind. You are listening to Radio Visions with Darrah every Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. So keep in mind that what we're doing here is just chatting over some cards and explaining things, just relaxing and having a good time. No stress, no muss, just a great evening. We're going to look at another card now. This is a dark card. This is a Ten of Spades, which brings up things that a lot of people like to say they don't do or whatnot, but everybody does. There's a little deception in everybody's life. It could be just as much as you trying to do a magic trick, but deception can be good. Don't let anybody tell you any otherwise. A little deception is always good every now and then. But for the most part, when you take it to an extreme, it can be a bad thing. But deception can be good. A little mystery in your life can be good. You know, if you can pull off a deception just a little bit and just enough, you become that mysterious stranger that shows up at a party. Which is actually a good segue, I think, because I actually offer a show called The Stranger. Now, if you're doing a formal party, this is a show that you'd like to book me with. The Stranger is I'll tell you what. I will just read you the write-up from the website. How's that? The Stranger is a phantom at the party. No one knows who he is or what he is. He is just an unannounced guest. And the real guests have no clue what the stranger can do. Over the course of the evening, an unexpected story starts to unfold about the stranger, taking the guests through a very unique night of enchanting and elegant evening of stories, of psychic readings, and tales of vision. Now, why I like this particular show so well is that if you're having a formal, it's great, but it's even better with a masquerade. But the idea behind it is that the host of the show doesn't let his guests know who I am until later on. And so as far as everybody knows, I'm just an uninvited guest or someone who forgot to be put on the list that nobody knows. And by the end of the night, people are so intrigued, so interested that they can hardly contain themselves half the time. Then everybody will end up getting a reading, of course, and it's just a really fun thing to do. So keep that in mind. The holidays are coming, and if you need to book a party, and it is going to be a formal party for, say, it's like New Year's Eve, a great time to do that one. Call me as soon as you can, because like I said, I've only got a few holes left in my calendar for the holidays, so call me and we'll see what we can do. I would also like to recommend that everybody have a great time. So, and if you haven't gone over the website completely yet, please do so. You'll find a lot of cool, interesting facts out there. A lot of facts that people ask all the time. You know, there are the two most common questions, or two commonly asked questions that are posted on the website. And I'll read them off to you here. The first question is, can you travel to do a show? And the answer to that is yes. I do shows nationally, actually. On a national level, I have been to Seattle, I've been to California, I've been to Oklahoma, I've been to Missouri, and numerous other places that we won't get into here, but yes, traveling's not a big deal. And if you've read the website, you know I'm based here in Kansas. And I've done so many shows and events here in Kansas that traveling is a nice welcome. And my other big question I always get is how big or how small of a show can you do? I can do a show for as little as 5 people. I can do a show for as big as 5,000 plus. It just depends on what show you're booking. If you're wanting personal reading style shows, you know, that type of show I recommend, of course, the psychic party, and then we have somewhere between maybe 15 and 30 guests. Then that way everybody can get a reading throughout the night. But if you're going to be on the opposite end of that with 500 people or 5,000 people, I suggest doing more of a stage style show. And I do have one of those in my lineup, which is it's called Imagine. And Imagine goes well beyond anything that you've probably ever seen anywhere. Because I actually use audience members and I let them use their abilities to even blow themselves away. It it takes a while to get used to, but imagine seeing someone painting a picture on stage that is totally blindfolded. They can't see what they're doing or how they're doing it. They can actually paint pictures completely blindfolded. This show is, like I said, something I don't think too many people have ever seen anywhere. So keep that in mind. And the other style of stage show I have is called Talking to the Afterlife. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It's me on a stage with guests, and I do readings for the guests live off the stage, usually about loved ones that have passed over already, and they need to communicate a little bit every now and then. So we do those. So keep that in mind. I do have events for very large shows and very small shows. So, like I said, just keep that in mind. I'd also like to have people remember, if you're out there listening, come on, give me an instant message. I'd be happy to IM with you and talk to you a little bit, give you a reading over the airs. So don't be afraid. It's fun. And like I said it earlier, if you want to be kept up on what's going on and when it's coming, sign up for the newsletter. You can go to the Contact Us/newsletter page. You got 2 ways to do that on that page. You can just put in your email address into the newsletter sign up, or if you're emailing me for some reason, you have the option to click the little box at the bottom of the email and it will automatically sign you up as well. So you don't have to do it twice. It's always a good thing to know that you can kind of do what you need to do. And you're listening to Radio Visions, broadcasting 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. every Friday and Saturday nights. So here we are. We're going over a deck of playing cards to let people know that you can actually read playing cards. We've done a handful of cards so far tonight. We're going to do a few more before the night's over, so you don't have to hear me ramble on about nothing, I guess. Let's look at another card right now. This one is a 6 of spades. And this one is kind of grounds you with your family, but it's usually because of arguments or discussions that aren't real pleasant, but they really need to be done half the time, even though you don't want to hear them. So keep that in mind. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So if you have a 6 of spades and it gets paired up with a Queen of Hearts, then the meaning of that would change it really drastically almost. Because then it would make it from an argument or a discussion into a reunion of old friends. So, like I said, keep in mind that things aren't always what they seem like when they're first dealt to you. And, life is always like that. You wake up one morning, think it's going to be one of those really bad days, and next thing you know, it turns itself around by the time the day's over, and life's great and wonderful again. So, don't let things get you down. That's really important. So let's take another look at a card and we'll go on from here. Okay, let me give him a little shuffle here. Okay, I've got an Ace of Hearts. Ace of Hearts is great. This is the home card, the card for people, the card for people that are involved. So the home card is great. It's always nice to know that things are focused around the home, the loved ones, the kids, your parents, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. It's always great to know that home is where the heart is. And, it's one of those things that you can't replace. Family, friends. You can always make new friends, but it's always great to know that you have old friends that have been around for 20 years, 30 years, 60 years. And they'll never go away. Even when they're gone, they're not gone. So keep that in mind as well. Take a look at another card here. Oh, we got a a Jack of Spades, which is a court card. And a court card is birth signs, and this one happens to be Capricorn, which is December 22nd to January 20th. So if your birthday falls in there somewhere, remember that you're a Jack of Spades, which is Capricorn. So keep that in mind. Makes things unique, wonderful. Like I said, we are live every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. doing live readings for people. And if you'd like a live reading, just use the instant message platform on the website there and send me a shout out, and I will be happy to answer your questions, see what I see for you, see where you're going, where you've been, what's happening tomorrow morning. That's always fun. But don't forget, that's why we're here on the weekends. So keep us coming. Keep the faith. I'd also like to keep reminding people that we do want to add music to our website. And the best way we can do that is have you help. So if you're a musician or in a band or a solo artist of any kind, we are looking for new age music, smooth jazz music, cool music. Just get to the website, fill out a broadcasting form, mail it in with your CD, and hopefully in a few weeks we'll have music streaming off our site. And the best part about this is that it will be music the majority of us probably has never heard, because if you're in the music business, it is a hard business to get anybody to listen to you. So keep that in mind, that if you do that, we can get you streaming out to the world. And that's always a fun thing to do. Stream out to the world. So I'd be happy to do that for anybody out there. And again, you are listening to Radio Visions, hosted by Darrah, every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. Streaming live. So keep in mind that things aren't always what they seem to be at times. Things are always good, things are always great. So we're going to look at another playing card here now. If you're just joining us, just keep in mind that tonight our topic was reading playing cards. Some of you out there may not know that you can actually read a standard household deck of playing cards versus a tarot deck. So we've been going through a lot of them. I'm going to turn over the next card to see what we get. We've got an 8 of clubs here. And the 8 of clubs is a business card. So it is always it always relates to business, as in maybe upcoming contracts need to be done, or money or property are involved somehow. But it's a good card. Now, if this card was laid down with a six of diamonds, let's say, then the experience would change from a money experience per se to an unexpected one, which doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad unexpected. It could be a good unexpected, but it changes it to unexpectedness. So keep that in mind. And here in a little bit, I'll go over some different scenarios about cards when you match them up and how many are in a lineup. Because a typical card lineup, if you do a basic one, is about 7 to 8 cards. You can get a little more elaborate and do a cross layout, which can incorporate as many as 15 to 20 cards. Then there's so many other layouts you can do, like arches and circles and so on, but we won't go into that tonight. But if you're interested in that, why don't you drop me an email and let me know that you're interested, and we'll go on from there. But tonight we're just here to talk about the different aspects of the reading playing cards and just having a good time. So if you're out there listening and you would like a personal reading tonight, just send an IM to me. You can get to that off the same website and the same page that you were on to find the show to start with. So keep that in mind. And eventually, we're going to add music to our site. I know I say that a lot, but until we get people sending in music, it's something that we need to do. So if you're an artist of some kind, has to be in the music industry, download a release form, fill it out, and mail it to us along with your CD. We are looking for music in the areas of new age, jazz, cool jazz, soft jazz, something that you can sit down and relax to and lose yourself. That's what we're looking for right now, just to get it going. So keep that in mind. Or even if you don't do music yourself and know someone that does, please tell them about the site. Get them the information. This is could be their big chance to get their name out there for people to listen to, because it is hard to get your people to listen to you if you're only playing local gigs. So this will get you out on a national and even a worldwide level really, really quick. So keep that in mind. Now, if you haven't been through the whole website yet, please take time to look at some of the other pages. Keep in mind, though, that things change constantly on this website, especially the page you're on right now, since it's in the developmental stage. It's probably going to change a few more times in the upcoming weeks. So keep that in mind. You're listening to RadioVisions Live Internet Talk Radio, broadcasting from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Central Time every Friday and Saturday nights with Darrah. So keep that in mind, that we're trying to help other people get their name out there. So if you do submit music, you will get the credit for it. Regardless if that is good or bad from your point of view, you will get the credit for it. Here, let's take another look at a card here. This is a queen of diamonds, which is another court card, which would be the Libra, September 24th to October 23rd. That's always nice to know what your court cards are. So they can influence other cards basically, or they can also give you time frames of when things happen. Usually when a court card pops up, it usually means that time frame is close around your birthday. So keep that in mind if you happen to drop a deck of cards and the only card facing up is a court card like the Queen of Diamonds for the Libra. Probably means something's going to happen around your birthday, so keep that in mind. The card method I use to read playing cards is really kind of unique, because it's not just from one aspect of card reading. It's actually taken from several different systems, if you want to call them that. that I've kind of melted in together that it works for me. So keep that in mind that everybody else that reads cards might do it slightly different. That's great. It's wonderful. It's what makes life interesting. What's different out there is always interesting. So keep that in mind as well. The next card I have here is a Five of Diamonds. Now the Five of Diamonds is great because it's for the lovers. It's love of people, love of socializing, just the love of freedom itself. It's a great card. It brings together other cards where it might symbolize the love of business, the love of your friends. It's just really awesome. Like if it was placed with a Queen of Spades, it would then slightly alter its meaning into a secret romance or desire, which is kind of cool. Everybody always likes to have a little romance every now and then, regardless if it's with someone you've been with for 80 years or if it's someone you met 3 weeks ago. It's always fun to have a little romance in your life, and that's always important. So keep that in mind as well. So here we go to the next one. Oh, it's another court card. This is the Queen of Spades. Now the Queen of Spades is Virgo, which if you're a Virgo, you know what days those are. That represents August 24th to August 23rd. And keep in mind that just because it's a black card doesn't mean you're doomed to unhappy things all your life. That's very quite the opposite. So keep that in mind as well. And it's just things it's just things that happen. And I'm going to switch this over a little bit. I know I'm giving you a lot of information out there, and a lot of you are probably wondering, well, what happens if I have four aces together? What does that mean? Well, if you had a line reading of 7 to 8 cards and there was four aces in there for whatever reason, don't happen too often, but it does happen. That would actually give it a slightly new meaning. The four aces together would represent a new life or a new start. So keep that in mind. It could, if it was preceded or followed up with meeting a new person style card, then you have the four aces, which means a new life. That means you might be starting over after a bad relationship, a breakup, or it could even mean that you were expecting a child and that new life was getting closer to happening. So keep in mind that when things come in fours or threes or twos, it's really kind of fun. Let's break it down to another thing. What happens if you have 3 tens together? 3 tens is kind of interesting. 3 tens actually represents a pleasant surprise, a new beginning to go with, I guess, your new life that you got with your four aces earlier. Keep in mind that playing cards are really interesting, very detailed. If you're interested in learning more about reading playing cards yourself, a lot of good books out there, a lot of stuff online. So keep that in mind. Little background history on me. I've been doing readings for people for well over 30 years now, off and on. At one time, I didn't do readings at all for several years because I just didn't really feel the calling, I guess you want to call it. People go through phases. I was going through a phase. But back in 2004, I decided to come back to doing this. So here we are tonight, almost 5 years later, and it's just great and wonderful to be back doing this. I'm a natural born psychic, and I am a true believer that everybody is born with some psychic abilities. Now, regardless if you are aware of them or use them, is one thing, but everybody has the ability to do that. That's probably why everybody is so familiar with the phrase of deja vu. Because you know it's happened before. You've had a dream, or you've been walking through the mall or the park, and you stop and stare at something just slightly different and go, wow, I knew that was going to happen. Or I've seen that before. That's deja vu. And it's just one of those things where you may have dreamt that exact same experience 2 days ahead of time or 2 years ahead of time. And as soon as you've seen it in real life, your brain clicked in and focused in on it. That is a psychic ability. So don't be afraid of it. Just embrace it and enjoy it. So just keep that in mind. Our next card here is Seven of Clubs. Seven of Clubs is a nice card. It makes any situation positive. So if you were going through some bad times or bad things and you were dealt a Seven of Clubs, it kind of wipes out everything that's there to a degree and makes it a very positive situation. So keep that in mind. And things are always changing, always changing. Let's get down to something slightly different on the cards here for right now, okay? Let's do what the meaning of each suit is, okay? Like the hearts. Hearts usually represent 4 to 5 things. Usually represents love, emotions, positive, kindness, and understanding. Now, in conjunction with other cards, it might not mean that all the time, but most of the time that's what the hearts mean. And the clubs are usually business orientated, so keep that in mind. So if you're out there wanting a reading tonight, please just send me an instant message and we'll move over to doing readings. So tonight we're just going over live cards or household playing cards. I'm just trying to give people the meaning of them. That I prefer actually reading playing cards over tarot cards. So like I said, if you're out there and you would like a reading, use the instant messenger just to send me a sign that you're there. Say hi, whatever you'd like. And we could go on from there. So we're going to look at another card here right now. This one is a Four of Hearts, which I just read a few minutes ago. That usually means love, emotions, kindness. This is actually a time card that it's going to follow within 4 to 5 days. Could be 4 to 5 weeks, but you know, it's a time card. If you haven't had time to go over the rest of the site, this would be a good opportunity to do that while you're sitting there listening. Find out all the other opportunities that I offer, all the other things. So it'd be cool. Okay, we're going to look at another card here. Okay, this one is a Five of Clubs. Five of Clubs usually represents work. It can also represent politics, which is kind of fitting for the year we just finished up last week, as far as the elections and go. So, and if you were registered to vote this year, I'm glad you did. So if you missed out, there got a chance again in 4 more years, I guess. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, we're going to move on to another card just to see what it is. This is a Four of Diamonds. Four of Diamonds is usually a holding card. Holding, saving, represents money basically, which is really nice, because if it's played down with like a Ace of Spades, that would indicate that there's a bank account or a savings account of some kind involved and you're saving for something in particular. So keep that in mind, okay? Now if you're just tuning in tonight, keep in mind that we are live every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. We do live readings over the air here, And if you'd like one, just sign in and IM me, and I'd be happy to do a live reading for you over the air. Or if you're just curious, sit back and listen and see where the night takes us. I always like to do this. Like I said, this is our second night. Last night was kind of interesting. I had a few technical problems. Tonight seems to be going okay. And as always, we always enjoy feedback from everybody listening. So if you're out there, please listen up. Send me an email. Sign up for the newsletter while you're there writing your email, because then you'll be able to get new information about the website before it's actually posted on the website usually. And that's always cool. And if you're a musician, we could do each other a favor basically. If you would like people to hear your music, fill out the release form, mail it back to me with the CD, and in a few weeks we'll be playing live music. Well, not live, but music over the airwaves here, which will do two things. It will give people during the day and the other nights that we're not on live something to listen to. And two, it will get people familiar with who you are as an artist. They can hear your music, because if we use your music, we will give you the credit. It will be streamed out just like a radio station, so keep that in mind. Okay, now we're going to look at another card here. This one is 10 of Diamonds, which is a success card, usually dealing with money. That means you're successful at maybe your job or just financing, or maybe even playing the stock market, which right now the old stock market has been hit awful hard, and a lot of people are still trying to figure out what they're going to do there. That is getting ready to turn back around. Not necessarily with all the money the government just gave them, but that's getting ready to turn back around. So keep that in mind when you're changing your investments out there, that some of them are okay to stay where they're at, and some of them you do want to change. So listen to that gut feeling before you actually do stuff. Okay, I also said that when we were doing these playing cards, I was going to tell you the meaning of the cards as we shuffled through some of these cards, and I was also going to tell you the meanings of what happens if they're in suits, like 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind, and so on and so forth. So let's say you have 3 sevens. 3 sevens is, depends on how you look at it, but I think it is one of the best 3 of a kinds you can have, because it represents the birth of a child or the creation of a child. So I always think that is a positive thing, and usually in the long run it always is positive. So keep that in mind tonight here on Radio Visions. To make it a little bit different, we're going through the standard deck of playing cards that I read, and telling you the meanings of the cards, just to give you an understanding of what some of the meanings are. Now keep in mind, other readers that use playing cards to read with may have different ways they read them, because what I'm reading off my cards is actually something I've developed over the years, and it's taken a little bit out of different people's works on how they do it. So if you've been to several other psychics before and they read them different than what you think I'm reading them, it's because they have their own way of doing it, just like I have my own way of doing it. So keep that in mind, that everybody reads cards just slightly different. Same with tarot card readers. They all read their cards slightly different. So just keep it in mind, that's all I'm saying. So here we got a 4 of clubs. 4 of clubs is really kind of an interesting card, because it's a success card, usually related to work. Everybody likes to be successful at work, and when this one pops up, that's usually because something's good is coming. Could be a raise, could be anything. If it's coupled with other cards, let's say the 8 of diamonds, That means you need to slow down and quit trying to do so much so quick. Just take a step back and let life happen a little bit in between you pushing, pushing, pushing. So don't don't hurt yourself out there. Work's great and wonderful, but relax, enjoy life too. That's what it's all about. I'm going to look at another card here. This is a court card or a star sign card. This is a Jack of Clubs, which is a Sagittarius. And if you're a Sagittarius, then you know that that is November 23rd to December 21st, which is really kind of cool. And Sagittariuses are really nice people. I know lots of them. I'm sure you do too. And it's just kind of interesting. So if you had four jacks, let's say, that would bring you into a gathering of people, a social or a business event, that there's a group of people always there. So keep that in mind, okay? Now I'm going to, since we've been reading a few court cards kind of quickly here, or star signs, let me give you a little more in-depth background on that, okay? You will, when I say background, I'm going to run over the star signs for you real quick so y'all know what those are. Most of you do anyway. But in playing cards, the King of Clubs is Aries, which is March 21st to April 20th. The King of Spades is the Taurus, which is April 21st to May 20th. The King of Diamonds represents Geminis, which is May 22nd to June 21st. The King of Hearts represents Cancer, which is June 22nd to July 22nd, which that was kind of interesting how the days start and end on the same one. Queen of Clubs is the same way for Leos. It's July 23rd to August 23rd. And the Queen of Spades is Virgo, which is August 24th to September 23rd. The Queen of Diamonds is Libra. The Libra's birth dates fall between September 24th and October 23rd. Sagittarius is Jack of Clubs, and they are November 23rd to December 21st. But I skipped somebody very important. This Queen of Hearts, which is Scorpios out there. Scorpios is October 24th through November 22nd, which happens to fall within my birth dates, so I'm a Scorpio. Little trivia out there for those who didn't know. So we've already got the Jack of Clubs after that. Okay, then it was the Jack of Spades, which is a Capricorn. That's December 22nd to January 20th. Then we got the Jack of Diamonds, which represents Aries. And Aries' birthdays fall between January 21st and February 19th, which I always like the beginning of each new year because it's different, it's new, change is coming. I enjoy it very much. And the Jack of Hearts for the last one is Pisces, which is February 20th to March 20th. So keep that in mind if you're interested in card readings, or if you happen to cut to a certain card, you know what the kings and the queens and the jacks are now. So it's just kind of fun, kind of interesting. So let's keep going to what we're doing out here. You are listening to Radio Visions, hosted by Darrah, every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. We do live readings over the air. Just use the IM to send me a message, ask me a question, and we will get you where you need to be with a way to do it. So keep that in mind. Or if you just want to say hi, you can IM me just to say hi. How's it going? If you would like to book a show, you need to either call me on the phone or email me the dates that your show will be and how big they are, how small they are, and what you have in mind for this show. And we can get that going as well. But for the rest of the night, we've just been kind of reading over playing cards. My goal tonight was to do something kind of different, so I was explaining what different playing cards mean and basically what they individually mean, but we've been pairing them up a little bit with other cards to show you how the cards before the cards after can change the meaning of the cards. This is a Ten of Clubs. Ten of Clubs is a travel card, but not like the other travel cards. This one usually represents travel over the interstates. Can possibly mean travel over water, but not too often. It's more travel over the interstates, like you're going to take a long road trip coming up. Keep that in mind as well. And if it's paired up with another card, let's say the King of Diamonds, if your Ten of Clubs is laying next to a King of Diamonds, that means the travel will probably be business related, and also that business related could be overseas. So that way, of course, then that would play with the water. But if it was paired up with a Queen of Hearts, that means it'd just be more of a holiday travel, like what's coming up. You're getting ready to go to your folks' houses for the holidays, or your folks were going to come see you for the holidays, but someone was going to travel and do a road trip, which is always kind of fun and exciting. I enjoy road trips very much. So let's look at another scenario where you get 3 eights together. What would 3 eights mean if you had a lineup of, let's say, a short reading of only 4 cards and 3 of them were eights? Well, that would signify a marital status is what it would do. And it could means that it's coming up, you're thinking about this, or it was something that just recently happened. But it usually puts it together really quick, really good. Okay, now we're going to roll over another card here and see what it says. This is a Queen of Clubs. And if you remember what I read of all the star signs a little while ago, if you were here for that, then you'll know a Queen of Clubs is what? The Leo. Usually represents women when it is in the cards. So keep that in mind. If it's a Queen of Clubs, it's usually a woman. And it is also kind of interesting that royal cards show the event being foretold usually happens within that star sign. So if we were giving you a reading, for example, and the Queen of Clubs came up, which was the Leo, usually the event will take place within July 23rd and August 23rd. So it gives you a few months to either to prepare for it or to know kind of what time of year it's going to happen, which is always kind of nice to know that you have a time frame of when stuff happens. I always like to know when things are going to happen, but then again, I've got a slight advantage over most people. Which brings me to another thing. A lot of people have asked me in the past, if you can see things coming, life must be awful boring for you. And my response to that has changed over the years. And at first, my response was, yeah, kinda. But to be honest, I don't see everything all the time. And sometimes the information I get is so distorted or only in bits and pieces. Sometimes by the time I get it figured out and put together, the event's over. So no, I don't get bored because I know it's coming all the time. That is a big misconception people have going into readings and stuff. They go, "Oh, if you know everything, what's the point?" Well, we don't know everything. We just get to see little clues and hints that most people overlook because they're so busy with their life, just trying to get through it. Just rush, rush, rush. If you step back and just look around, you'll be amazed at what you can see. Let's take a look at another card right here. This is the Five of Spades. And this card usually represents fights or quarrels or just being upset over something in general. Which we all know that life happens that way sometimes. Things get in the way, things don't work out the way we wanted. So we're upset. Or we fight with our spouses or our loved ones for whatever reason. Things happen. Just keep in mind that everything happens for a reason. So take it with a grain of salt and enjoy life. Remember, you're listening to Radio Visions, hosted by Darrah, every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. If you've just tuned in, the topic of tonight's storyline for the 2 hours was explaining how to read a standard deck of playing cards. Because I prefer reading playing cards over tarot cards due to the fact that they're easier to get your hands on, for one. And two, some people tend to shy away from tarot cards from whatever reason. I always assumed that it was because in the movies and TV shows sometimes they play them up as not being a good thing, which is really, really wrong. They're, to give you some background, the standard household deck of playing cards that you use every day actually came from tarot cards. Over the centuries, tarot cards were taken and the pictures were taken off some of them, left on others, given denominations like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like in a tarot card deck, it would be like the 4 of coins or the 6 of coins or the 4 of goblets. You know, that's where you get your numbers from the tarot cards. And then they shortened up the standard household deck of cards. Like a tarot card deck is like 72 cards. And they removed a portion of the cards that left you with 52 cards, which were basically all the numbered cards. Like I said, the 4 of cups and the 3 of wands and the 2 of spoons, or whatever the cards had on them at the time. So keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with tarot cards. They're just over-glorified playing cards, actually. But they are very accurate. So if you go to a reader in your hometown and that's what they use, trust me, they are very accurate tools to use with readings. So don't let anybody tell you anything different. Alrighty? And if you haven't had time to go over the entire website yet, please do so. There's a lot of interesting stuff on there, a little background information on me. Some stuff in there that is very interesting. I have actually 5 different styles of shows I can do if you're interested in booking parties, regardless if they're holiday parties or just parties because you're having a party. I also do personal readings by appointment only. So if you would like a personal reading live, face to face that is, pick up the phone, make an appointment. You can even email me to make an appointment. Probably be easier if you do that half the time anyway, because my life, like so many other people's, is busy, busy, busy. I'm always running, it seems like. When you have a couple kids, that happens, I know. So keep that in mind. Oh, speaking of the holidays coming up and parties, if you're looking for a gift idea for someone that you really don't know what to get them, I offer the ultimate gift for somebody. It's called a reading in a bottle. And if you haven't found that one yet on the home page of the website, oh, you're gonna love this. Here, let me tell you a little more about this. A reading in a bottle is actually based on someone's name, so you can make it as personal as possible by giving it to them based on their name. Now, if you would like it based on just a reading in general, I can do that as well. But it is actually based on a name or a reading in general. It is printed on gold parchment paper, enrolled and tied up with a black tassel, and it is shipped to that person, if you would like, in a hand-picked glass bottle. And trust me, finding glass bottles that are really cool sometimes takes some work. But it's one of those gifts you can give to somebody that they will hold on to for quite a while. It's also a gift you can give to somebody that you have no clue what to buy for them anyway, because they have everything under the sun. So keep in mind, we do offer gifts, and we do offer it in two styles. One style is just with the reading on the parchment paper, or if you would like the photograph added to the parchment paper, send a photograph to us either by email or in the regular mail, and when we get it, we can incorporate their picture onto the parchment paper, which is kind of cool. There's an example of that on the homepage of the website at the bottom. So if you have that gift for that impossible person for the holidays, maybe you should consider giving them a reading in a bottle. But keep in mind, it does take a little time to get it to you. You know, it takes 1 to 2 weeks turnaround time, so keep that in mind when ordering. So moving on, we're going to check out another playing card here, okay? I'm going to flip this over. Oh, this one's a 10 of spades, which is deception, cunning, or mystery, which is kind of interesting. You know, everybody needs a little deception or a little mystery in their life. I enjoy mystery every now and then, as long as it don't get in the way of everything, which it never does, it seems like, with me. This next card here is actually a fun card. It is a 9 of hearts, and that actually represents hope and dreams. We could even go to say it represents wishes that come true, which in this day and age is always nice when a dream comes true or a wish comes true. So keep that in mind, that they actually come true sometimes. Things aren't as always bad as the news makes them out to be. If you ever watch the evening news or the midday news, to me they all sound one and the same anymore. So a little hope, a little dreams, never hurt anybody. And like I said, if you've just tuned in to the show this evening, we are going over playing cards, giving you the meanings of a standard household deck of playing cards. Because that when I read cards, I prefer to read playing cards. They're just kind of fun because everybody's familiar with what they look like. They're not. Some people get scared of tarot cards when they see a picture they don't understand and stuff, and a regular deck of playing cards is really fun. Everybody, like I said, just everybody's familiar with them, and it just makes it for a more relaxing reading. That's what it does. So keep in mind that's what we're doing tonight. And this next card I've just turned over is a King of Spades, which is a Taurus. And of course it represents men usually in general, but there are women out there too. Don't think it's a biased thing, because it's not. So if you're just tuning in and wondering what's going on, we're here just having a good time. And in the upcoming weeks, we want to add music to the website here. So if you're in a band or an artist of some kind, we are looking for new age music. We are looking for smooth jazz music. So if you produce some of that yourself and it's original, why don't you get on the website, download a broadcasting form and mail it to us along with the CD. And in the upcoming weeks, we can get it added to the site, so when you get on it, you can listen to new and beautiful music, stuff that will relax you so you can go to sleep to, or just relax you enough in the evenings with a nice glass of wine and unwind. Maybe you're soaking in the tub while you're listening to it. Just however you like to end your days. I personally like to unwind with a glass of wine in one hand and just veg out on the couch. So just keeping that in mind. Also, if you have any ideas that you think we should try to incorporate with what we're doing here on visionsbydarrah.com, please drop me an email with your comments, good ones hopefully. If you've got some things you don't like about it, let us know that too, so we can make the improvements we need to make. I'm always open to change and moving forward, which everybody should be opened up to moving forward, because staying in one spot doesn't do anybody any good. And if you want to keep on top of everything, sign up for our monthly newsletter. You can find that on the Contact Us /newsletter page. Drop your email address in there and let us get you on that list, and once a month you'll get a letter. And we try to get the information out to you, like I said, only once a month and not any more than that, but you'll probably know things that are changing quicker by that than by waiting for them to get posted on the website, because usually we do our newsletters fairly quickly every month. Our website will be changing rapidly in the next few days, I hope, when people start sending us music and we tweak it here and there. You know how that is when you're doing experimental stuff. So that's the stage we're in right now. This is just kind of a big experiment. See how well it goes over. I hope it goes very, very well. And in the future, who knows where this will lead? Because this radio station was kind of a dream of mine. If you weren't here earlier in the evening, like I said, I was a guest on a radio program over a year ago, and it fascinated me so much that I wanted to do my own thing and just wasn't for sure how to do it on a little to next to nothing budget like I have. Then I found a way to do it over my website. So I figured that would be really fun. So here we are streaming over our website now and just enjoying life to the fullest. And like I said, if you have any ideas of where we can change stuff and do things, feel free to send me an email. Also, if you would like a live reading on the air while you're listening, go over to the instant messenger and send me an IM, and I'd be happy to give you a reading live right now if you're interested out there. and we can get that done. And what better ways to enjoy an evening by learning new stuff? That's why I thought tonight we would try something different and I'd tell you the meanings of a standard deck of playing cards. We've been through the majority of the deck. We only got a handful of them left. So let's take a look at another card here. This one is the King of Diamonds, which is a Gemini card. And like I said earlier, Gemini is May 22nd to June 21st. And that's a good card. Good card, positive card. So that's what that one means. The King of Diamonds is a Gemini. And like I said earlier, the court cards, like I like to call them, court card is the King, Queen, Jack. And those usually represent a time frame of when things happen when you're doing a card reading. Like if you've got a travel card in the King of Diamonds, your travel will more than likely take place during the time frame of May 22nd and June 20th. Or June 21st, I'm sorry. So keep in mind that's what they represent, is usually time frames and so forth. And over here we've got our next card, which is a Five of Diamonds. Now Five of Diamonds is a unique card because it's a card that suggests that you are dealing with the public in some fashion. It could be with your job, it could be that you coordinate things for your kids' school events like the PTA, the PTO, their fundraisers, whatnot. But you tend to deal with the public a lot. That's what a Five of Diamonds represents when it pops up. And if it pops up next to a card of, let's see, the Ten of Diamonds, then the meaning would change, of course. It would kind of say, hey, you need to step back and be steadfast on your own course of action. So don't let people sway you. You need to do what you need to do and move forward. And that's always a good thing as well. Okay, moving on here. I know some of you out there were saying, well, what happens if you get more than one of something in a reading? And that's a good question. Like if you get 3 queens, and that usually represents a gathering of women. I know that seems obvious, doesn't it? 3 queens, a gathering of women. But usually that is what happens when you get 3 queens in one reading. So if you know 3 women really well, that could be if you're a man, that could be your wife, your mother, and your daughters, or her mom, her, and your daughter. The combinations there are endless. But that's what 3 queens would mean, a gathering of women. And some people say, well, what happens if I have more than that? Let's say like 4 tens. Well, 4 tens would represent something new, a venture, a very successful event in your life. That's what the 4 tens would represent. That's always positive, always great. This next card I just turned over to get you going is a time card, which isn't a. Now, this is a 3 of hearts. Now, I know I told you a little while ago that time cards are court cards, like the Taurus card, the King of Spades, which could tell you something's going to happen in the time frame of April 21st to May 20th, if it was actually the Taurus, and so on. But this 3 of hearts that is a time card has actually shrunk down the time. So the time is actually within 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months of here and now, not of the months stipulated by the king cards or the queen cards or the jack cards. So keep that in mind that the time cards, like the three of hearts, is something slightly different. It means it's from three of now. So that's just something to keep in mind. And if it was paired up with a ace of diamonds, which would be a new friend or new love, that could also mean that it's coming within 3 days or possibly even 3 weeks. So keep that in mind. Some of these other travel cards mean here and now and not a certain time of year. That's always good to know. And if you're just joining us, you're listening to Radio Visions by Darrah. Every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. we're doing live readings for people. If you would like a live reading, just IM me with the IM device that's there on the web page, and I'd be happy to give you a reading right here, right now. Or if you're just curious and want to listen, that's fine too. Just sit back and relax and let the night take you wherever it takes you. And be happy and content. In the course of the evening, or the topic of tonight's show was reading playing cards. And I was just telling y'all the meanings of what the playing cards meant versus what tarot cards mean, and so on and so forth. This next card I just turned over was a Seven of Hearts. And a Seven of Hearts is a nice card. It brings newness or young love. And when I mean young love, I mean someone that you just recently met within a few days or possibly a few weeks, but nothing more than that. And you know, you've got that little feeling in the pit of your stomach. You know already that this could be something. So that's what that means. Seven of Seven of Hearts. Now I can't even speak. So Seven of Hearts here means newness, new idea, or young love. So just keep that in mind. And I also like to throw in here that we didn't cover earlier. A little while back, I read down what the star signs were. You know, like Scorpio, Pisces, Libra, and all those. Now I'm going to break that down into a little bit, something a little bit further for you to let you know what water signs are and fire signs. Now, if you're a Leo, an Aries, or a Sagittarius, or in the standard deck of playing cards, those would all be clubs. Those are actually considered fire signs. So keep that in mind, that fire signs are Leos, Aries, and Sagittarius, and they're all club cards. Air signs are Geminis, Libras, and Aquariuses. And those are all diamonds. Okay? Moving on to the earth signs, which is for the Tauruses, the Virgos, and the Capricorns. Those are all spades in the standard deck of cards. The earth signs, okay? And then we got the water signs, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And of course, those are all heart cards. So just to throw that out there for y'all. And no, I'm not from the South, so I don't know why I throw in words like y'all. So just go with me on that. I'm just having a good time. Just seeing what's out there, you know. If you're new to the website and haven't really gone over it yet, please feel free to go over it and read some of the other pages besides the one you're on that you're doing now. If you're in the music business of some sort, like you're an artist, a musician, in a band, Or if you just sing in the shower and you've recorded some of your music and you would like to have some airtime with it, go to the web page and download the broadcasting form, fill it out, and send it to us with a CD. And in the upcoming weeks, we're going to start streaming your music so people can hear it, give you feedback, give us feedback, because we're not always on the air live all the time, and I would like to have things for you to listen to throughout the day and make us your number one radio station is what I'd like to make you. So keep that in mind as well. We've only got a handful of cards left, and I think we'll just run over a few more of them before the night's over. The next card I turned over is a Six of Diamonds. Now this is a financial card. And financial, I don't mean destitute or anything like that, but it's financial responsibility. That usually represents that you're in charge of the finances in your life or relationship or whatnot, but when it comes to the money decisions, you're the person. So keep that in mind. And if it's paired up with another card, let's say that Eight of Clubs, that means you might want to be a little cautious to temptation. In other words, if you're walking through the mall or see that info commercial on TV late at night, might want to fight that urge a little bit. Don't just say I need that product right now. Give it some thought before you really do it. That's what that means, okay? You're listening to Radio Visions, hosted by Darrah, every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. Keep it in mind that we're just here to have a good time. If you just logged on and you would like a live reading, feel free to IM me and we'll get your reading underway. We can get as detailed as you like or as minimal as you like. That choice is yours. I'm here to serve you, the community. So keep that in mind as well. Or if you would like to book a private reading face-to-face, you can do that too. Just pick up the phone sometime and give us a call. But not right now. Not right now when we're doing live shows. That'd be kind of silly because I wouldn't be able to get to the phone. Then you'd have to talk to the voicemail. But that's just one of those things. Or you can email me saying you're interested in doing a face-to-face or a live reading. We can get you accommodated for that as well. Book you in, get you some time, make an appointment. Or if you'd like to book a holiday party that you're stressing over, not knowing what you're going to do for your holiday party, let me know. I've got several different styles of shows and events we can do, like a psychic party. Actually, that is my number one show right now, is the psychic party. If you want something a little more formal, I would suggest doing the stranger. That's always good to do as costume masquerade parties as well. Like for New Year's Eve or Halloween that just passed, it was a great time for that. Or if you have a pretty large group of people that you would like to incorporate and get involved with, that would be an ideal for talking to the afterlife. Or if you want something a little more on the show side, I would suggest going with the show called Imagine. And that show there, the Imagine show, will blow you away. It is so different and so unique. It will blow your mind. So get on the front web page and read the write-up on that. It will blow your mind. Of course, we do wine readings as well. And that is basically basically a psychic party, but just a little bit more on the formal side. Just a little more fun to do. It involves relaxing with a nice glass of wine, having a good time. Makes the evening go by a little quicker as well. So keep that in mind. Like I said, I have 5 different show stylings you can book for that Christmas or Hanukkah party or whatever you celebrate. Or if you're just, like I said, wanting to make a personal reading appointment, give me a call. We can set up that appointment as well. And it will just be fun and dandy for everybody. And if you've just logged on or tuned in, we've been going over playing cards this evening for tonight's topic, and I've been letting you know that one of my favorite reading styles is reading regular playing cards or household cards. I've just been going over the meanings of each card so you guys would know what they were. If it's new to you reading playing cards, then this will give you a really good background on what it is and what it isn't. And the card I just turned over now was a Jack of Diamonds, which is the Aquarius card. And of course, you know that the Aquarius is January 21st to February 19th. And it is a time card, so if something happens, it usually happens that time of year. That's what they signify, so keep that in mind as well. We're going to roll over another card here and see what this one is. This is a 6 of Clubs. The 6 of Clubs is a satisfaction card or a stability card. You're happy with what you're doing and life in general, and you're very good at what you do. You're good at work, you're good at your social life, you're good at getting things done around the house or the home. You take pride in yourself, basically, and that is a very, very good trait. And if it's set up with other cards, let's say it's set up with a Queen of Clubs as well. So you got your 6 of Clubs is laying next to a Queen of Clubs. That would mean there's gossip going on somewhere, but you're supposed to ignore the gossip. You're supposed to overlook it and be better than that. That's what that would signify. So keep that in mind. Or if it was laying next to if your 6 of Clubs was laying next to the Queen of Clubs and a 9 of Hearts, you would want to ignore the gossip that was coming from work and the recognition or the promotion you were thinking about work and what was going on. You're going to get it, but there's some gossip going around, so don't let the gossip interfere with that. Just let it happen. So keep that in mind. That's kind of what those cards would mean together. And like I said, I'm just telling you the meanings of what the cards are relating to themselves and not to anybody in particular. I'm just kind of reading them out to the world, and what happens, happens. So keep that in mind too, okay? That this whole evening hasn't been one big reading for everybody out there, but if what I'm saying relates to a situation you're in, by all means, call it fate, call it destiny, go with it. Make the changes you need to change and move on. That's why I'm here, is to help you through those tough times. Help you through those happy times as well. This other card I just flipped over is a King of Hearts, which is a Cancer card. Not Cancer in the bad way, it's just the star sign Cancer, which is June 22nd to July 22nd. And if you've been listening to most of this broadcast tonight, you know what that means. Yes, it's a travel card. So keep that in mind. Our next card here is a Eight of Spades. Now this card's kind of a downer, I'll admit, because it usually represents a loss or even a hard lesson learned. But usually a loss or a hard lesson learned, like I said, usually teaches you something and makes you move forward from whatever situation you were in. So keep that in mind. It's not always a bad thing. It just makes you move forward, makes you happier, makes you do what you need to do. That's really what that means. So don't let it get you down. If you are down, I am me. Right here, right now. Let me know that you're down. I'll talk you through it. Make things good again. We'll see what's coming up for you. But you're not by yourself by any means. Nobody is ever by themselves when I'm around. Okay, this other card here is the Six of Hearts. The Six of Hearts is one of my favorite cards. It represents happiness, affection. So keep that in mind. If you ever playing cards and you drop a card and it lands face up and it's a Six of Hearts, that's fate telling you that you're in store for some happiness and affection. So, like I said, everything happens for a reason. I've only got a handful left. Actually, I've got 3 cards left that I've got time to read for you here tonight before we're out of here. Let's go over them real quick. This card here is the King of Clubs, which is an Aries. The Aries, of course, is March 21st to April 20th. Now, if you were listening earlier when I read through all the star signs, kind of told you what they all were. So that is really, really neat. Then not too long ago, I just read you what all the fire signs, air signs, earth signs, and water signs were. Fire signs are clubs, air signs are diamonds, earth signs are spades, and water signs are hearts. So keep that in mind. Card here I just turned up is a Ace of Clubs. The Ace of Clubs is, I always say it's work related because it represents messages or speeches or even a letter. And why I feel that goes with the work situation and stuff, I don't know, but that's always what throws itself at me, is that it's work related usually, but not always. To give you an idea, if the Ace of Clubs was laid down to the Ace of Hearts, that would actually signify that the message or the speech or the letter you were going to get was actually romance related, and everybody likes that, and in a positive way, not in a bad way, but it's romance related in a good positive way. So keep that in mind. This will be the last one I'll read tonight, let you know what it means. This one is a Queen of Diamonds. Excuse me, it's not a Queen of Diamonds, it's actually a Queen of Hearts. And this one is my star sign, which is Scorpio, October 24th to November 22nd. So always a good time being had since that's coming up next week. And keep in mind, if you're new to this site, that RadioVisions has only been open and running for 2 nights now. I would like to thank everybody that's been out there listening and participating. And if you would like to have readings done, sign in every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. Use the I am on that page, and we can do live readings over the airwaves that way. And in the weeks to come, we hope to add music to the site. So if you were interested in submitting some of your original music, please fill out the form on the web page there and mail it back to us with a CD, and we'll get music going here pretty quick. I'm hoping to get the music added within the next week, maybe two, but that will depend on if we get enough people sending us material to use and giving us permission to use them. Because remember, if you send us just a CD, we can't use it unless one of those forms is attached with it. Just keep that in mind if you're thinking about wanting us to broadcast your music. And anybody that submits music for us to use will get full credit for it. Keep that in mind. Regardless if people think your music is wonderful and great, or if they think just the opposite, you will get credit for it, so keep that in mind before you submit it. I personally like all forms of music, good and bad. I know that may sound funny, but some bad music is kind of fun. So we will be doing that coming up. If you want to know things before they actually happen on the website, go to the page called Contact Us/newsletter and sign up for our monthly newsletter, and we will get you information as it happens. Instead of waiting for a few days to get it posted to the website, you'll know right then and there. That's always a fun thing to do, so keep that in mind as well. And remember, you're listening to Radio Visions, hosted by Darrah every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. doing live readings over the air. So if you would like one, please join us at any time. Well, this is pretty much going to conclude this evening. And I would like to thank everybody for participating tonight and listening. And things will get better for you. Keep that in mind. The future is out there, and we're running towards it as fast as we can. So this is Darrah signing off, and have a great evening.